my loves, welcome back to our channel. So yeah, we're somewhere different. Joseph and I are relocating and we're looking for a home in a new state, which required us to hop in the car and get out of here, get out of LA and figure out what we're gonna do with our lives. So we're here and we figured we can still talk all things Married at First Sight. But before we get into that, bust down. Subscribe to this channel. It doesn't cost you anything. Y'all see, that was an omen. That was an omen that y'all need to subscribe to this Mammy Tapping channel. So we're talking all things Married at First Sight. We're going to do 2 episodes in one. We're just going to chat, okay? And I guess we can start with couples that we are absolutely positively from, like, who we're unsure about, or who we're sure about to who we're unsure about. How about we do it that way? So let's begin with whom I think is in the catbird seat, and that's Mirla and Gil.
Yeah.
We are watching this unfold before our eyes, and it is really, honestly beautiful. So they go and they celebrate their 1-month anniversary with one another, and you can see how loving and how it's growing for Mirla. Like, I was worried in the beginning because, you know, Gil gives brokey. And when I say brokey, I mean broke energy. Like, he operates from a space of lack and she doesn't. So, like, when I mean broke, I don't mean like broke in the actual sense. I mean like your mentality is broke. Like, if you live abundantly, money will flow to you and through you. You know what I mean? And I think that he has a way that he comes off super frugal. But like she said, she told her girlfriend, like, no, when he want to spend things, he spends.
Yeah, because I think the whole objective of painting Mirla's character earlier on was actually to make her the extreme spender.
Yeah.
So I didn't... Gil,
which now I'm watching and I don't think that to be true.
I never thought it was to be true, but I also said that in the beginning because I say, what kind of women are y'all dating who don't like nice things? Like, you know?
Did say that.
So to me, Gil... It wasn't a Gil thing, and it wasn't a Mirla thing.
Yeah.
It was, they were trying to make Mirla the extremist. And it just...
Really, she wasn't.
And I think it was much more of like little bits and pieces of their existence being strung together and pushed as like, this is what their issue is. When the more we watched them, the longer they spent time together, the more you realize this is not really an issue for them. Like, they joke about it. Gil jokes about it. He's really not bothered by it.
He talks about it a little bit too much to me.
I think they take the pieces where he talks about it and they put that in the show. Okay. Because I think if they film 1,000 hours, which they do, of these shows, right? And it's obviously going to come up in conversation. I think they take it when it comes up in conversation, and that's the part that we kept seeing. Yeah. And then we got to see more of them and how they spend time together. And how that's not what they talk about.
Touchy-feeliness and everything. And I love that. Like, I love that small bit of affection that they give one another. I think that's like really, really dope. And it also tells me, because he said something, his friend asked him, like, if you guys didn't have sex, like, would that bother you or whatever the case may be? Or if you weren't intimate? And he was like, no, like, I feel like we're intimate and it'll happen in time. And I appreciate it.
Because she's into him and they are intimate.
She is.
And you can tell early on that even when they were kind of putting in those little scenes of him complaining about her doing this or her not having a kiss or whatever, you could tell Gil is very upfront and transparent, right? Yeah. So if Gil really had an issue with Mirla,
that is a fact.
You would know. He wouldn't just be joking about it, right?
That's a fact.
And so I think the more you get to know Gil, the more you know how he's right out there. Even when he's talking to the other couples and somebody say something weird, Gil would be like, what? That don't make sense. Like, Gil doesn't have a filter, right? So... Which
I appreciate that most about him, babe.
Yeah, I do too.
I think that's one of his better characteristics because, you know, he is a Taurus, so that earthy energy, you know, them earth signs, I am one of them. We will tell you about yourself. We don't have no problem doing that. Well, we're honest. Like, we're those honest friends in your life. And I really do love that about him. A lot of stuff about him, I'm just like, but that aspect of him being in a space where he's like open but really honest with the people around him, I think is such a fantastic trait. And I think that's why Mirla likes him.
And I think that's where we can find solace in knowing that and not believing everything that Lifetime is trying to depict to us about their relationship.
That's a fact.
Because if Gil really had a problem with her being this wasteful spender and this super hoity-toity. Gil, it's very clear that Gil enjoys his time with Mirla.
And that's
so he might joke about it. He just like everybody jokes about their spouse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I joke about my spouse being a cluttery.
But that's the truth. That's not a lie.
But it's also nowhere near the point where I'm like, you know what? I'm questioning our relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like they put the music behind it. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
it does
Like,
make
and
you
it's like,
think,
yo, this is not it's a massive storyline within the show, but within their life, within their life, it's not.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I was trying to say about Mirla early on, and about Gil. Like Gil likes her, and she like him.
Which I'm glad you kind of stuck to that, and then we all get to come around, and that's the exciting thing about this show. Specifically, I'm gonna be honest. In a very long time in watching this show, this is probably the first time in a long time I've watched it and seen something bloom like this and been excited about it. Because most of the time, these people are just like, they not giving. Like, we can go back to Karen and Miles or whatever the case may be, and they don't give from point one to point, from A to Z. They don't give us nothing. And I think that this is beautiful because you actually get to see the like culmination and like what's brewing with them, and it's really beautiful.
I also like it because you get to see the maturation process of people in their own process, right? Like everybody was ready to jump on Mirla because she goes slow, but people, including myself, people have their own process, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they checked out or they not in it to win it, right? Like if somebody is not down to kiss on the first date, it don't mean that they won't be kissing on the 6th or 7th
but
date,
you
right?
said something while we were watching, and you said you think if the cameras weren't there, she would have kissed him a while.
I do think that, because,
and I believe that too,
because there's something to people's personalities showing differently on this show than it does in real life, right? And both in negative and positive ways, right? Like we've seen it where people are much more warm and much more into their spouse and much more intimate when the cameras are going, right?
1,000%.
We've also seen where people literally don't show up unless they're filming, right? So for 6-7 weeks, we think that they just having issues because of communication and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, this man or woman is not even there until they get a call time. You know what I mean? So I think it's also something that you got to take into account when you're watching the show, especially when you've seen the show before. Like, I know it's sometimes like she was jokes and calls me the wet blanket because I'm constantly going back to the production. Like trying to keep in mind, like, wait a minute, this might be production. Maybe they're awkward. We think that we just see 2 people on screen, but it's 10 people in the room.
Which one episode is awkward.
That's awkward, right? So if somebody's acting awkward, you got to take that into account, right?
Yeah.
The one episode we were just watching, I think is this last one. Yeah, when Bao and Johnny had their like last big blow up,
and the guy walking around in the back.
You could see the production, like somebody was on their earpiece walking behind. Imagine you having an argument with your spouse and some guy with a mask and earpiece is walking behind in your living room. Like, that's awkward. You know what I mean? So this is stuff to take into account when we're assessing what's happening. You got to take it all into account.
But I am liking them, and I'm enjoying that she is choosing. What do you feel about, like, do you believe that you choose to love people, or do you think that that's something that, like, you can't even help it? Like,
this is a great question, and I can't wait to answer it, because I'm going to start my answer off by saying 2 things can be true, and I got it in very early. This might be the earliest I got it in, and we're 10 minutes in. I got it in. I think 2 things can be true. I think love is absolutely a choice, right? Okay. And I think at the same time, love is also something that is its own being, its own thing that has a life of its own, that can grow, that can shape shift. It's this ghost in the room. It's the spiritual being that is a part of relationships, right? So I think it's not just one thing, right? I think I can speak from a personal standpoint. I fell in love with my wife when we were very young. It wasn't a choice for me at that age, right? At this point in life, I choose to love her every day, right? It's an active choice. But especially in this iteration of our relationship, because there's so much, it takes so much more to keep the train on the tracks and keep it going, that you have to choose love. You have to say, you know what? we might be going through X, Y, and Z, but I choose love. I choose to love. I choose to keep this going. And love is part of the fuel that keeps the relationship going. But it's also been a thing of, I can go back to being in high school and being told I can't be around her, and I couldn't help it because I was enthralled with her, right? So we was kids and we got through stuff, and I got in trouble and she got in trouble, and our parents was like, no, y'all done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that was a situation where we fell in love. Like it was like
we couldn't control
it, and you could feel it. I remember.
And nobody could control it.
And nobody could control it. But that's what I mean by it being its own thing.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what happened between us, or what our parents told us, or what our teachers told us, that thing was very real, and it was the third component in the relationship. Like, it was me, her, and love, right? And so I think that when I say two things can be true, that's what I mean. Like, there is the aspect that is its own living, breathing entity, and there's also the aspect that is a choice that you can choose. And so I can respect when Mirla says, I right now I don't think Mirla has the spiritual being aspect of it. She doesn't have that, and that's okay.
She doesn't have that uncontrollable part.
She doesn't have the uncontrollable part yet.
Right.
But right now she's saying, I'm choosing to love. Yeah, so.
It's funny because I agree, and I would even take it as like even further. Y'all don't know our full story. Maybe one day we'll share that with you. But
yeah, that's a whole video.
That's a whole and maybe y'all should send in questions. Like, if y'all want to know stuff about us, like, ask us. Like, you know what I mean? We don't have no problem answering stuff like that. But I don't think. But I think that, to your point, there was a point where we were trying our best not to choose love here.
How about that? I left that out too.
And I think that we both were trying very hard to be in a space where, like, this isn't where we thought maybe it wasn't for us. Okay, like, you know what I mean? And I think that the uncontrollable part of it pushed us to a point where we had to make a decision to either keep busting up our lives in however way we decided to do them, to have any kind of connection with one another, or just have the connection and choose the connection and choose one another and just water it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that, if I'm describing it right,
I would agree. Yeah.
And I think that's where I kind of agree with her. I think it's important in the beginning. This is going back to why I'm starting to really, really dig her. And I'm glad that I gave her the opportunity. I'm watching it grow and everything like that, and seeing how even the nuances of her looks different now. Yeah. When I think about it backwards.
Well, they're showing they're showing the nuances of her. That's
and they weren't showing it.
All
before.
They were showing was she got chimichurri in her closet.
Yeah, like, who
she buy red bottom. That's all they were showing before, and it's like there's not one side to any person. Jay Leno is a big car collector, but when you go in his house, it's not just about cars, right? There's many facets to all of us. That's why I didn't buy into this thing of she's just this overspender, highfalutin
But
queen.
Commercials work on me, so there you go. There you go. But I'm just saying all that to say I think that was a really good point that she made, where she said, I'm choosing to love him. And I thought that was, like, really beautiful. Inversely, and we'll move into Jose and Rachel now. Jose and Rachel, who is just fascinating. And I thought they was fascinating in the beginning, to be quite honest. I think that they're both, is overzealous the word I want to use? They're both extra. Yes. In their own way. Like, oh my God, we're in love with it.
Yeah, and I think that's the difference between what Mirla said and what Rachel and Jose said. That's what I'm getting at. Because I can respect what Mirla said. I choose to love him right now. Way more than when Rachel and Jose got together. Oh, we're in love. No, you're not. You're not. You don't even know this person's middle name.
You don't even know this person.
You're just not. I just don't buy it. I know some people subscribe to that, but you're not. Like, you don't even know this person. And this is not a person you chose to be around even, right? It's one thing when it's like love at first sight because you chose to, something else drew you and you're like, but it wasn't that situation. This person was
chosen for you.
Right. So I think that's a difference between choosing love and then claiming that you just fell in love and you guys are so in love and all this other stuff. This is the perfect person. That stuff always crashes and burns to me.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
And my thing is, your person can be perfect for you. But it's like, it takes time to get to a space where you even can see and understand it, because it takes a lot of understanding of you to say this person is perfect for you.
Yeah.
If y'all picking up what I'm putting down, okay, you know what I mean? I think it takes a lot of that, and I find that Jose and Rachel are lost, and they need a lot of guidance. And did y'all feel her begging him for an apology, or was it just me?
No. It wasn't a feeling. We saw it. It was happening on the screen.
I'm like, is she begging him for an apology? But the only thing I do like is that she stood her ground. Because I'm a real large proponent, and you have to teach people how to treat you. And her thing is like, I am not letting up until I get the apology I deserve. And I thought, like, goddamn right. Because then he'll know that in the future, I have no problem with slowing this shit up and making it a stalemate and just sitting here until you get your act the fuck together.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really, really dope. Like, you know what I mean? I think that her advocating for herself is going to be what she needs, because he is a bulldozer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he really need to be checked. And it's like really like one of those, like, you this, you that, you ain't got it going on like that. Even with her saying, like, I want to go to Europe, I want to do things with you. And he like, oh, we could go to San Antonio. How could you even fix your mouth to say some stupid ass shit like that?
Yeah, he really needs to be grounded and humbled. Like, you know, because one thing about marriage is a humbling thing. Like, you know, you have to humble yourself. You have to be open to change. You have to be open to a whole nother person's feelings and perspectives. And that's humbling. You got to be open to saying, you know what, maybe we should do this her way. Maybe we should do this a different way. Maybe I should think about how I do this.
Right.
Maybe, you know what I mean? And you can't progress and succeed in marriage if you are not at all humbled by it. You know what I'm saying? If you go in thinking, I got it together, I got all the answers, this is the plan, she's gonna fit into my plan, she's gonna fit into my box. If you go in doing that, guess what? You bound to Drizzy. That's 18 minutes. We got it in at 18 minutes. We setting records today.
But let me ask y'all this. Did you think he was sincere when he came in and wrote the notes? I love a good note written to me. You don't write me notes no more. It's funny. I found like you had wrote notes, but you had left it in my car. And I had picked it up like, oh my God, he left me a note. And all it was like a grocery list. I was like, salty as hell.
Well, she should have all the notes from high school. I have a lot of notes.
He used to write me notes all the time.
I might have a booklet that's still.
You need to write me a note.
I did. I wrote all the notes.
I would like a little note, but I thought it was. Did y'all think that was genuine? Did you think?
I don't think anything Jose does is genuine.
Me either. What's that about? What's that about?
He's not really a genuine person to me.
And I'm nervous for her because I wonder, you know, that representative thing is a real thing.
Yeah, and I think he is.
He is the embodiment.
Sold in and leaned into it. Yeah.
Because the person that he really is the mother jumper that will lock the door on your ass.
Yeah.
That's who he is. And she made a very valid point. And people don't get this. And me and my sister, our sister Jazz, her and I were speaking about this the other night, that women give up so much in marriage. And everybody is always talking about what a man will do, whatever the case may be. But the reality is, and not to make it like apples and oranges, but maybe it is apples and oranges. She made a very valid point where my life is going to change. We're going to your house. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm going to be giving up so much of my life to make this work. And you do need a sense of acknowledgement of that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is what I'm willing to put in to make this work. And I think that so often women are constantly giving in so many ways. You're either the breadwinner, but you come home, you cook. You come home, you clean. You make sure motherfucker, if he need a doctor's appointment, dental appointment, you make it. You do all these things. And it's like, not that it's at a deficit in some way, shape, form, or fashion, but it's like, we have the ability to create this home and this lifestyle. And sometimes it is to a deficit of ourselves. And it makes you think, like, I thought it was really good that she said that, because it does need, especially for him. Like, I feel like he needs to be reminded. Like, some men will be very thankful about all the things that their wife does for them, or their girlfriend, or whomever, or their spouse in any way. And I think that, like, it was good for her to say, like, you need to understand that what I'm willing to give up to be here, because that is a sacrifice. Like, you know what I mean? And that's my commitment to this. So what are you going to do? Like, what do you bring if I'm committing all of this? You know what I mean? And I thought it was really good that she kind of...
I think he doesn't really acknowledge her sacrifices, and I think that's the issue. Like, both parties in every relationship make sacrifices in different ways.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's always gonna be
somebody's going to give a little bit more to somebody else.
There's always going to be some type of void when the other person's sacrifice is not acknowledged, right? No matter what it is, they're going to feel like, damn. Like, if you're a man and you feel like you work your nails to the bone and then you come home and it's not appreciated, you feel like my sacrifices are being overlooked. Same thing if you're a woman, you do the same thing. You come and you feel like so whenever somebody feel like their sacrifice is being overlooked, it's a problem. And I think with Jose doesn't see it as a problem. Jose just thinks
because Jose don't see him as the problem, but he is trying to come around. Like, he's saying, like, I do realize I'm not listening as much, and I need to be a little bit more. You know what I mean? But I honestly think he did not know that about himself. I genuinely.
I believe that too. I believe he's never been called on the carpet for any of his shit.
Or I don't think I think people have said it. I don't think he's cared.
Oh, that part, maybe.
And
that
I think
part too, yeah.
Being on TV kind of forces you almost, even though he can't see himself back, he knows that they're filming all his.
Well, he's also getting it from multiple angles, right? Like, he'll be around the guys and he'll be telling them what happened, and they're all like, "What?"
No.
So now you're on camera,
and
so now you're forced to be like, if everybody else is crazy, I'm the one that's insane, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So if you are on camera and the camera is saying it and you talking to the guys and these are the only other people that are going through this experience with you and they're all like, no, that doesn't make sense, Jose. But that's why I said I don't feel like it's genuine, because I feel like he's forced into an apology. He's forced into saying, yeah, you know what, maybe I overreacted. Why? Because 6 other dudes told him you overreacted.
That's a fact.
You know what I mean? Where in regular life, I don't think that would have happened, and he would just be like, she's crazy, I'm done with her.
It wouldn't have happened. You're absolutely right. But is it me, or did they go to the same winery? I sound like Jalen. Y'all, Jalen Rose was on his Mimi Tap. What's it called?
He was on his podcast today
with Jacoby.
With Jalen and Jacoby. That's the name.
Oh
of
my God, Jalen was high. And what he like? That's what I'm giving right now.
It was a lot.
You wanna know what it is? I'm ready for happy hour. But but my only thing is, so my question is for you. Do you believe that they were at the same winery, Mirla and Gil? And
they definitely were, and I think Lifetime just has a hookup with the winery.
Even though Mirla and Gil's setup was cute as hell,
it was,
and I'm very glad, and I'm glad to see. I hate to go back to them, but I'm just excited to see him romancing her because I was worried that that's something that he wasn't going to do for her, but now it's looking like he getting it together. So I like
because he's into her, and she's also showing up in ways
so he can show up
for yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that what you was? I'm sorry. You get to a space where you used to completing your spouse's.
It's like
I gotta work on that, yo.
It makes speaking easier.
I'm sorry. So so who do you think is next? If we're going from people we think is like strong to the weakest link, who you gonna put next?
Well, obviously, I don't think anybody is in
the Catbury.
I don't think anybody. No, the Catbury is definitely Mirla and Gil.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody is weaker. Is at a worse place right now than Bao and Johnny. So
I agree.
So
I was saving them for last.
Ryan and
Brett and Ryan. You think they're over Michaela and Zach?
No. I'm saying Brett and Ryan would be right above Bao and Johnny. And then Michaela and Zach would be right above Brett and
So I guess we're gonna talk about Michaela and
Ryan.
Zach.
Yeah, Michaela and Zach, they were on the bottom. Clearly, they were on.
We
the
already
bottom.
know. We already know.
But I think the way that they have rebounded and progressed and worked through some of their issues and the effort that they're giving, they're both giving effort.
I agree.
Puts them in, takes them out of that bottom tier where Bao and Johnny are, because I think that they're both putting in effort and
it looks more honest. Something about what Bao and Johnny is going through is under something.
Looks shady, which is what Pastor Kyle was talking about.
Yes, and that's why I think it is weird. But that's why I think it's like really good to see them. Now, Michaela did get on my nerves this last episode, Joel, when they was doing the tango.
Yeah, that
with
was
Mirla
an issue.
and Gil. Mirla and Gil leaning in, which I thought was so. I'm just really enjoying them right now. Thought it was so cute to do that. But Gil was holding her feet to the Mammy Tap and Fly.
But that's what I mean about Gil. Like he's gonna. That's what I mean when I say if Gil really had issues with Mirla, they would come out and they wouldn't be a joke. Like when Gil is asking these people, "Are you for real?" He ain't joking. Like he said, "Did you give effort? You just say I didn't want to do this, and then you sat down, right?" And so she's like, "Well, yeah,
I really used to be that girl.
I didn't want to do it anymore." And it's like, well, then that's not. Because also, what if he did that to you? Like, what if you, Michaela, took him somewhere and he just decided, I'm done with this, and walked off and sat in the corner? You would be Hurricane K. You would be pissed. You'd be breaking a Lysol bottle over somebody's head.
That's the truth.
So for you to just sit there and go, well, I was done with it, you know?
I didn't want to do it.
Yeah, I just didn't want to do it.
But can I tell you something? And this is a true story. I'm about to give y'all some real piping hot tea. I really am Michaela, and that's why she annoys the dog shit out of me. In a former life, I had a Valentine's date, and a guy rented out an entire skating rink. The entire skating rink. If you know me, I love all types of like cotton candy, funnel cake, had all of that. We get there, I'm so in my brain about and if you know me, I actually really like skating. But for some odd reason, I just would not do it. Like, I just would not. I was such a Debbie Downer that day. And he was like, it's fun. Like, they playing any music we want them to play. We doing it the entire skating rink. And I was such a wet blanket. And it really, that took me back to that moment. And what I attributed that to was my self-esteem I was nervous. And I just was like overwhelmed. And I felt like I didn't want to make a fool of myself, even though, y'all, I can skate. So it was like, but it's like feeling all those feelings. I was so in my head that I couldn't even enjoy that moment. And until I watched that, I blocked that entire experience out of my mind, which I'm really good at. Like, I'll pretend like shit didn't happen. But like, that really was like one of those things where it's like a self-confidence thing. Because I think first of all, I think she's putting on airs for the camera in a lot of ways.
Yeah, very similar to Jose.
Very similar to Jose. Very similar to Jose. And I think we're going to see, and I think it's getting, in some moments, I think it's hard for her to keep that kind of persona kind of thing. And then sometimes we see her drop it and then she beating up Clorox bottles. You understand what I'm saying? So I when I saw that though, I felt like she missed such an opportunity to show for her spouse, because now Joe took me on a, what they call that?
Hot air balloon,
right? But if you know me, I don't even play. Like, anything that put my life in danger, I'm not doing it, right? But he did this whole gesture, and I just was like, I have to go. Like, you know what I mean? As much as I want to pee on myself, and I legit wanted to pee in the little basket that we were in, I would have pissed on everybody on that thing. Yeah. But I just was like, you got to show up. Like, if somebody shows up for you in such a major way like that, like, you do that, you show up too. You know what I mean? And I thought that, like, she kind of missed a fucking opportunity, and it was disappointing to watch. Yeah. Because it's like, I've never, outside of Karen, not rooted for a black woman in my life.
Yeah.
And I don't get it.
I think it's hard watching her do these things where she is kind of like self-sabotaging her own relationship.
She's self-sabotaging, and I know she's trying to show up in other ways, and she did. She got him like the studio session or whatever the hell that was, because you know everybody want to be an artist or whatever.
Yeah, I don't
know. Everybody want to be.
But he loved it, so that's.
But he loved it, so
I was confused.
I was confused as hell, but he loved it, and you can see them kind of growing and getting to know each other, and even she felt like she's unsure about certain things, and I think part of the reason why she didn't want to make a fool of herself at the dance class, which she wouldn't have. Is because he had said something to her that really bothered her, and that was, I don't know if I see a future here. So then she felt like that changed how much she was going to provide or show up in the relationship.
Which I think more so for her, it was just her like wanting to be petty about it.
I agree.
Because I think she just felt like,
I agree.
She just took that as, oh, you hurt my feelings, so now this is how I'm going to retaliate.
That's what, if this was a job, this would be an EEOC violation. Yeah. You don't get to just, he mad, so now I'm mad at him for being mad.
Yeah.
You don't get to do that. If he felt that kind of way, and he was honest enough to tell you straight up how he felt, You can have feelings about it. Don't get me jacked up. Like, you absolutely positively can. But you also got to think about, what role did I play to get this human being here?
Right.
Because he didn't get there on his own.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that was the only thing that I kind of thought was like whack. Like, he got here because he doesn't feel safe with you.
Right.
Not because the first couple days y'all had a great time, but like, you acted a fucking
You terrified
fool. And high key, he didn't even see how much of a fool you acted.
He didn't.
That's the real tea.
Right.
The real tea is that he only got the brunt of it, but you was acting a plumb fool. Yeah. So it's like, you know what I mean? I don't want to like keep making her the villain, because I don't think that's necessarily the case. But she has to be, that's to me kind of absolving yourself of the BS. Yeah. Like, oh, well, we over that. Which, I tell y'all all the time, when you marry, you do have to have a short memory, man. You can't be holding on to things. You gotta be like, all right, we're moving on today.
But that's the thing. He was trying to move on, and then you would like cancel something or not show up. Like, he was trying to be, and I think the difference in them now is they're both being more intentional about moving on, because you can't move on by yourself. You know what I mean?
And that's the good thing to say. Yeah. That's the good thing to say. So it's nice to see them doing that. And that's why they're third. Yeah. This week. Or these last 2 weeks. Because I've seen them kind of making some motions and everything like that. And that's really good to see. Yeah. And she went out with her Hercules singing ass sister. And I thought that was good to... I mean, what's very clear to me is that they definitely enable her.
For sure. Because she's going to say, well, I think some of that might have leaked into her relationship. What?
She acts a plumb fucking fool.
And you know she does. You know she does. And you know that it's in every walk of life. Like, at work, in the parking lot.
She just cursed you the fuck out.
Yeah, like, girl. I just rolled my eyes at that comment, like, so hard.
But it's like, that's why, y'all, it's so important to have people in your corner that actually hold you accountable for the things you say and do. Because a lot of y'all be out here around people who think these bad behaviors are good and normal, and it's not serving you or anybody to bleep else. And then y'all be wondering why y'all out here single. Y'all gonna have to buy my book. Yeah, because I be really trying to get y'all married out here. Y'all don't listen.
But also still sharp and still, and I think a lot of people is out here with yes men, and it's like that's dangerous. Where anything you do is right. It's everybody else.
Right. And it's like, she obviously, you cannot act like that. That's not okay. And you also can't be mad at him for having a feeling about you acting a goddamn fool. Yeah. Because had he done the same thing to him, y'all, he would be castigated.
He would be canceled.
Period.
He would be, I mean,
let's
all the
be
hashtags,
for real. Let's be for real. If we seen a black man acting like that on TV in response to a woman, a black woman, y'all please.
He would be the scariest big monster bear on television.
So let's not diminish it. You know what I mean? Let's not diminish what she does or how she acts. And but I'm gonna give her grace because she's trying to come out of it, and I see it. And they went on a cute little bubble ball date, which I thought was super cute.
Yeah, I thought that was dope.
And I think we're getting to see Zach every week, and y'all tell me if y'all have observed this, is getting more and more comfortable.
I think he is.
The way he talk is getting more relaxed. Everything. He cursing all over the place, which I love. Y'all know I love a cursing ass person. And it's like, you know what I mean? I think that you can see that he's getting more comfortable in their relationship, and I'm hoping that they continue on.
Yeah, as long as I think he feels like they're getting further and further away from the last explosion. And as long as I think there is not another, explosion. Yeah. I think they can continue to grow and grow in the right way and be intentional with each other, trying to get back to those feelings that they had when they first saw each other, when they met that night and had sex on the first night, which somehow they neglect to recall. Everybody, like, they literally just lied about it the other day and said that they didn't have sex, but whatever.
They did?
Yeah, they said it. Like, they were like, oh.
I can't. Weirdos. But something about them is off to me any goddamn way, as a conglomerate. So let's move on to Brett and Ryan, right? Who is... We ain't even really got much to say about... I don't have much to say about Brett and Ryan, except for Ryan ain't... and he gonna have to prove it to me that he is, because she's good.
Yeah, it's not much to say because Ryan isn't saying much, and he's not really. It feels like he doesn't want to tell her that this has no shot because I'm just not into you. I'm not really attracted to you, and I don't see myself getting over that. And it seems like those are the words that he is afraid to say, because the good part of him feels like, I will crush her if I say this to her. So that part is holding him back from saying that. But I think he has really stopped himself from being, he has these blurbs where he's a part of the process, like he did the whole hide and go seek thing, which was like a cute little thing.
I agree.
And I think he has these moments where he's like, all right, I'm gonna do this. And then he has these moments where they sit on the couch and she's like, what? Like, what's up? And he's like, I think I need to sleep on the couch or in the bed because I'm tired. If I'm tired, like, what was that conversation even about? They didn't even talk about anything. And poor Brett is sitting there like, okay, I'll sleep in another room. Like, why are y'all even sleeping in separate rooms? You're not having an argument. You're not like in the midst of some like beef or big disagreement. Like, you're just sleeping in another room because you're not into her and you having weird feelings about it. It's just real shady.
These men really exist, y'all. And the thing is, so his sister kind of made, Ryan's sister kind of made reference to the fact that he really liked maybe the Victoria's Secret aesthetic. And Brett is beautiful. Don't get it jacked up. Brett is a pretty girl. But she might not fit that aesthetic for some. She might be more like Savage X Fenty. You know what I mean? Something for everybody. Yeah. But the reality is that I think that it's giving douche. In his effort to be nice, to me, it's giving douchebag. Because my thing is, like, if I'm a woman, like a grown A woman, and I'm here, and this is me and you had this conversation all the time, well, especially in regards to stuff like this and Ready to Love, which we're getting back to too. When you say, like, people don't feel comfortable saying that, I just don't find this person attractive. But it is so hard to watch. And people just don't say what it is. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, bro, like, and she seems like the type that just needs to know, because she's trying. She done lost her dog. He don't even look like he, like, you know, you want, when you in a mood, I don't know, guys, girls, whomever, when you in a mood and you just need your person and to just like put you in their lap and pet your booty, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Sometimes you need that kind of feeling, and it just don't feel like she getting none of that. And it's like really sad to me. And but this is what I'm saying, that because people do this thing, and Joe always talk about me. I really like the villain, right? If ever I watch something, I almost always kind of lean towards the villain, because it's so much easier to pretend to be a nice person. It's received better. It's you get accolades for being a nice person. Oh, we're gonna give you the benefit of the doubt because you're trying to be a nice person, when the reality is that I may genuinely have bad feelings towards this person. I might have bad feelings. I want to say I have bad feelings and be done. That don't make you a bad person. That just, what you're saying is bad things. You know what I mean? And I think that sometimes we negate the circumstances of situations in order to, like, I think he's trying to make himself look good. And I think to him, he looked like the better person by not saying it. Yeah. But the reality is you don't. You look like an ass.
But
like,
this is what I was saying last season, is people are scared of being vilified in the media and social media, because it's not even a bad feeling. To not be attracted, there's nothing wrong with not finding someone attractive. There is billions of people on this earth, and I don't find the majority of them attractive.
Come on.
Probably 98.9%.
It's a Seinfeld episode, Joe.
Literally. Like, so I don't feel bad if I'm just saying I just don't find that person attractive. It's not a bad thing, right? It doesn't make me a bad person because I don't find somebody attractive. But when you're on national television and you're on these reality shows and you're on Lifetime, and you say, especially as a man, for some reason this is a crazy double standard.
It is.
You say you don't find X woman attractive. Yeah. The Lifetime female middle-aged white woman mob is coming after you. And a lot of times we see these people get vilified. These people that are on the show watch the show, so they know the people who got vilified. And so now they on the show and they like, well, I think it's the temperature in the room. I think it's her shoes. I think it's because they don't want to say, you know what, I'm not attracted.
And she's a messy bird too. Let's be clear. I'm messy too, y'all. I really need my own space. I'm just, but sometimes But and that, I can see how if you don't know the person, that could be a turnoff.
Yeah, I can. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I can see that 1,000%. Like if we just moving in, I'm still gonna show my representative. I'm still fold some clothes or whatever. Like I got cluttered over time. Like it didn't start out that way. You know what I mean? Like so it's like I think that a lot of what he says makes sense in how she cleans or and some it don't. It don't make sense. Let me tell I'm giving him an excuse.
If
y'all.
he thought he was with Gigi Hadid,
that's a message, and I'm not even sure, but I'm sure.
He even said it. He said, "I will wash the dishes with a smile on my face." That's real.
It's the truth.
That's real. Like it doesn't matter. I'm trying to tell you, like it doesn't matter. Like if she could be the messiest woman in the world, but if that's your vibe, you gonna be happily picking up them clothes right after her, right?
He puts my shoes right away.
Straight up. You know what I'm saying? So I think we just go back to people trying to back out of this, like with the Simpsons meme, right back into the britches, and let's get to this 6 weeks or whatever it is. With my brand and my image intact, so I don't come out of this looking like the bad guy.
But what did you? So my question is, so they had the date or whatever where they all go out and run and do the thing that you said you would want to do.
The rock climbing thing.
Yeah, where they did all of that stuff.
Yeah, and
he really liked that. But do you think? Did he like the action? But did he like that she set it up, or did he like?
He liked the activity.
Okay.
And I think that because like we were watching it, and they weren't even
they didn't touch each other or
with
anything.
Each other like as much as
Jose and Rachel
was, right?
Which is
so
weird.
It seemed like he was having. It seems like Ryan was having a good time because he was in his element. But it was almost like Brett wasn't there. Like she dropped him off like he was a kid and he said go play,
No, in real life. And she was just like watching him or whatever.
Yeah.
I be wanting to see who these people dated before, y'all. So bad.
That would be a fascinating.
I want to see so bad. I mean, granted, that will probably mess up with somebody else's privacy or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But I'm just so curious.
But it will give you some insight
about their actual types.
It will give you some insight.
Even if we saw like a celebrity type, like who is your celebrity type?
Right. Because then you can. I think it will also help you be like, okay, I get it. Like,
who's
you know what I'm saying?
Type?
Like, my celebrity type looks like her though. You know what I mean? So that's the weird part. Like,
I don't know. I don't have a celebrity.
Yeah, like what's the girl? You know who I'm talking about.
He like Justine Skye.
I
don't even want to say it out loud because if she see her man kind of look like my man right now.
So it's weird because they look alike. People have told her that she looked like Justine Skye before,
and I don't.
So she really does, y'all. Go look it up. Go look it up, and then hop in the comments and tell us who's right. Thank you.
Thank you.
But I think it will help you be like, all right, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like if you've been dating Kim Kardashians your whole life, and then they throw you a Paris Hilton, that's a juxtaposition of a person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you will see that if you have eyesight into that, if you have a view into that, you will see that and be like, all right, I get how like he's not vibing with the Paris Hilton type. You know what I'm saying? Because it's completely different from a physicality standpoint. They're opposite ends of the spectrum. You know what I mean? So I think it will allow us to give up a little more grace to be like, you know what? It's going to take him a little bit more effort because he's never even been with somebody like that. You know what I'm saying? If you've only dated somebody from a certain culture, like Brett, I give Brett kudos because Brett is coming. You could tell from her friends, from her nails, from the way she dressed, she is coming from fly girl.
Yeah, she dated differently too.
I wouldn't be surprised if she has an ex who looks like me. Okay,
I wouldn't be surprised either.
Right? So when Ryan is like, come to this country show, Brett was like, no, is Drake gonna be there? No, for real. Okay.
Wait.
So
I was not ready for that.
This is what happens. We spend too much time together.
No,
so,
in real life.
That's the juxtaposition, right? Yeah. Where she's like, no, that's not my vibe at all. Yeah. And so it's not
the title of this, by the way.
It's not my vibe at all. So it's different from it being different physical wise.
Yeah.
But it's still a difference. It's still something still a hurdle for somebody. Where it's like, I don't even hang in the same circles that you. I don't listen to the same music.
Yeah.
I don't vote for the same politicians.
She's probably going through the same thing he going through.
That's what I'm
she's
saying.
Still giving 100%.
That's what I'm trying to say.
She's still like, all right, bump it. Like, maybe it's something here that I'm not seeing, or whatever the case may be. And some people, I think they put together just for TV, but I don't think they put Brett and Ryan together for TV. I think that they
I don't think they did either. I thought they really.
I think they thought about that one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's move on to Bow and Johnny, because we have 46 minutes. And
well,
Johnny, we did good for 2 episodes though. We might not have covered everything, but y'all got the gist.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell y'all something. I'm so tired of seeing Johnny on the brink of tears. It ain't even funny. Okay? Johnny is really...
every episode.
He is... The way he turns red, y'all, I've never seen anything like that in my life. Like, I've never been at a table with somebody and they've been mad at their spouse and I can visibly... You might get a...
Johnny was fuming at that.
Johnny
table.
was like bright red. She's lying. Like,
But I applaud him for his restraint, because he looked like he wanted to be Michaela for 2 seconds.
Oh, he did. He ripped that. He murdered that rose.
He was slowly ripping it though, like that. Michaela would have been like, he was just sitting there like, all right, she lying, but all right, you know what I'm saying?
But what did y'all think she was lying though?
She was lying. She was lying though. At the table, Johnny was absolutely right. She had said, she made it seem like she cooks every day. Like, she comes home and she Martha Stewart. And at up to that point where they were having the conversation,
she had only cooked once.
Once, and they were together when she did it.
Right.
Right?
Which to me, that is still cooking, because I cook every night and he did every
Right.
You know what I mean?
But the way that she portrayed it was like, I'm out here slaving, and he's like, no, you don't.
Yeah,
you don't do that. Why are you lying? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I understood why he felt like that. But it's issues compounded one after another with them, because Johnny has a new issue every day. It seems like, you know what I mean? Which is why I get when Bow's like, I want him to focus more on the positive.
He is looking for something, and that's why I'm glad Pastor Kyle asked that question. Like, I can tell when people's attention is in 2 different places. Do y'all think that that's the case?
I don't think that's the case. I think it's very similar to Ryan, John and Bow's situation, because I think Johnny is just not really into Bow. I think he wasn't really into her from the beginning, but he was kind of into the process. You know, I think sometimes people are more enamored with the process than they are the person. And I think
he's a romantic. And I think the issue with being a romantic sometimes is that people have romantic views of what love is supposed to be. And then when they get into situations or relationships or whatever, they're like, oh, this ain't it.
Yeah.
It requires me to do more, or it hurts sometimes, or it's annoying sometimes. I really genuinely believe if it was anybody, he would have the same.
I don't, only because I think if Johnny was in the Bow, he would have never ghosted her when they first met. You know what I mean?
That. Did he say that this episode, or was that a preview for the next one?
I can't remember.
I can't remember, but he said that. And to your point, we were talking. I want you to hold your thought really quick, because I want to just take it back to Brett and Ryan really quick.
Yeah.
Ryan said, we talked about Brett and Ryan and how Ryan is not being honest. Johnny is on the complete opposite end of that spectrum. Okay.
Johnny is saying too much. Like, he literally said, "I wish I was matched with literally anybody else." Like, wow. And then so you got to come in Bow, because Bow is exercising great restraint, because she's just sitting there like, okay, like just taking it. She's talking, she's conversing, and she's pushing through. Like, she's like, I'm still here. I'm still going to show up to the family barbecue. I'm still going to do all of this stuff. And
even though she got disinvited.
Yeah, it just seems like he
is mean.
He's trying to find his way out of this before decision day, similar to.
And he
Ryan.
want her to make the decision.
Yeah,
he want to keep treating her in a way that's not nice, so that she'll say, "I'm done with this." Because the reality is, he's not going to say it. He's just going to keep saying stuff like, I could be matched with anybody else in the world, or that's why I ghosted you. I didn't want to date you then, or just mean, nasty thing. What was That was the mean thing he said, was that I could be matched with anybody else in the world. And I think that I don't understand why the shady part of it is that I genuinely don't see it.
This is because this is what it is in my mind, right? Same thing with Ryan. When you are, and I think I've been here in life before. When you are with somebody who you're not really into, you unconsciously are thinking they need to be perfect for me to stay here. Because I'm already X, Y, and Z. I already don't think you that cute. I already don't like your personality that much. So you better not near get on my nerves. You know what I mean? So I think that we're seeing that play out in a marriage. You know what I mean? Where he's like, you know what? I don't like the way you laugh. It reminds me of a child. Because he don't like her, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's the little, when you're not really into somebody, it's the little stuff that you like, I ain't messing with this. I'm not here for it. And I think that's what we're seeing with Ryan, and that's what we're seeing with Johnny. And from the outside looking in, it just looks like there's nothing wrong with her, because there isn't nothing wrong with her. But to him, because he's not into her, it's the smallest stuff that's like, she's cluttery, I'm out. You know what I mean? Where if you was into her, that would be the last of your, you know what I mean?
Exactly, which he also acknowledged that. But let me tell y'all something. The way Johnny be turning red, it really be killing my spirit.
I mean, he is
but the fact that he uninvited her, the fact that he uninvited her to the barbecue.
It was messed up. Like, but I saw that coming. I mean, I knew that was just a precursor to them spending more time apart, and him, like, when he left the crib, I'm like, he's not coming back to take you to no damn barbecue. Like, I just knew that. Like, come on, you had to know that Johnny wasn't going to do that. He couldn't. He doesn't want to. It's almost evident that he doesn't really want to be around, even when he is around sometimes.
Which is weird. Well, that's not weird, but that's the wrong word. It's just fascinating. Like, to your point, like, it does give that he doesn't even want to be around her. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he was like, well, I guess they were like, well, what do you think she's doing right now? He was like, I don't know, sitting in the bed texting, like, I don't know, right? And it's like, I feel like she's putting in an effort.
She is putting in an effort. She is.
From the outside looking in, you know what I mean? Yeah. But I do think it's really fascinating that but that's in the effort to find any little thing not to like.
That's what I mean, because he already is like not into her. I don't know if I think part of it is he's not really attracted to her. He kind of says she's not really his type. This is very early on. So I think there's always the little stuff that's gonna send them off the deep end, because they're not really into that person.
It's really, really a fascinating dynamic. And it's like, I want them to win. But I also think there is something deeper going on. Like you said that you don't think it's somebody else. This is what I wanted to say. The problem with all of this Married at First Sight thing, and it's not just with Johnny or Ryan, but we're in a social media age, right? So dating now, and I haven't dated in years, but dating now is so different, right? Just based on what I'm hearing from people, because you'll get with somebody and then people think, oh, it's a better option out there. You know what I mean? I
think that's the problem with being in this age. You always think that because you have, everybody's a click away, right? Yeah. Whether it's a dating app or a DM, you feel like at your fingertips is a better option.
Right. And I don't necessarily see that to be the truth.
It's not. Once you live life, you realize that it's not.
Right. And I haven't dated, and I probably haven't dated in like years, and like maybe 10 years. And it's like, literally, I don't understand how, I don't know, it's just fascinating to me that like people go through these spaces and they really think in their mind, it's something better out there for me. Even though you got to this point, because I love to remind people, if you in my life and you talking about what you could, should, would have, I'm the first one to remind you why you ain't got it. Why you ain't got it? And people will be like, oh, I ain't want it like that. No, that ain't true. That ain't true. Why don't you have it? You know what I mean? Since y'all making all the choices in your life, like, tell me why straight up. The reality is that you never had it in before. And guess what? That's okay. Like, that's okay. You know what I mean? But let's not pretend. And I would argue, like, do I believe people have options? Maybe 5 or 6. But y'all be out here acting like y'all got the world at your fingertips.
5 or 6 is generous.
And I am being generous. But you picking up what I'm putting down?
Yeah. I just think it's all a figment of people's imagination. Like, because I think we were just talking about this the other day, and we getting a little long in the tooth. We about to wrap up.
I'm sorry.
I think we were talking about this the other day, and seeing it play out in other genres, right? And other places in life where we see, musicians, artists, bands have this like inflated sense of self because of social media, right? We talked about Little Mo was doing an interview on the Breakfast Club talking about how she was basically too good to do verses, and it was like,
you?
No, you're not, sis. Like, social media got your heads fucked up. Like, no, just because you got 100K on Instagram and 200 on Twitter don't mean that you bigger than Patti LaBelle or the Isley Brothers who's doing verses. You know what I mean? But I think people get, in this social media age, they get so caught up in living in their own bubble that they are detached from reality.
Or in what they created.
And what they created. Yeah. That they are so detached from reality where you think just because you got people in your DMs that you can go outside and just find another one. And it's like, no, they don't work like that. The motherfucker in your DMs lives in Omaha. So this might sound good. With his granny
in her basement.
Or his wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think people... The grass is always greener, and the social media is super green. It's turf. It's not even real. Like, it's like amazingly green. You know what I mean? And so I think that
Confucius.
That's what it is. Like, social media really got everybody fucked up, and
what y'all don't get is that the grass is green where you water it. Period. Right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're feeding it, if you're nurturing it, it will grow. You know what I mean? It's not about what it looked like somewhere else. Like, take the time and work on your and it'll be what you want it to be. Like, I be telling people all the time, like, y'all, everybody, we talk about this all the time. Oh, you always following him around. But that's what I mean. I won't be wherever he at. You know what I mean? So long as he want me to be there, bitch, I'm going to be there. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, y'all might, from the outside looking in, it looks like one thing. But from here, it's like we have a real deep connection. And that, what watering our connection looks like is being with one another, supporting one another in all ways that we can, and everything like that. And I think that, like, I'm tired of this, like, I can do better.
Yeah.
Why you ain't do better then?
Yeah.
Where is it at? Like, we need to see it. Like, I don't understand. Like, people will come in your face and tell you I can do better, and you will literally be like, and I'm not saying if you get an abusive, that we negating that. We negating that fact, but I'm saying, like...
Yeah, we're not talking about being in negative situations.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying,
we're talking about being not committed. That's the difference. Like, and that's in anything. Like, you have to commit the time to whatever you do, whether it's your relationship or your craft. Everybody want to be rich, but nobody want to put in the work, right? And so that's a commitment thing too. I would be here and like I would have left my job and did this but you didn't, because you weren't committed. Do you spend the time in doing X, Y, and Z, right?
Why I feel like you yelling at me?
I'm not.
That felt triggered by that.
No. Do you spend the time? Because people say all the time, I want to do this, or tell me how to do this, right? And my first thing is like, how much time do you spend doing the thing that is that you say you want to do, or that, like you said, that you would have did, woulda, coulda, shoulda,
all y'all wouldas.
Yeah, so it's like if you're constantly in these failed relationships, how much time are you spending actually putting in to help these relationships flourish, right? Or are you constantly like, I got something better?
Was Drake there? So I guess we're going to end this here. If you have not already, bust down, subscribe to this channel. And I guess we'll see you beautiful selves later.